Hey everybody, we're out in California. We're in the LA Harbor area. We're at the battleship USS Iowa, which is a battleship that served all the way from World War II all the way up to one of the Gulf Wars. Some interesting information about this battleship. Some of the Normandy invasion was planned aboard this battleship. It also had a big turret explosion. Some of you guys might remember the turret explosion. That killed a lot of our US sailors. That was also aboard this ship. So we're going to go inside, check it out, try to give you a quick look around inside this floating history museum. This is the USS Iowa, which all Iowa-class battleships were basically modeled after. There were several other Iowa-class battleships that were in Desert Storm, but this one had already been decommissioned because of the turret explosion. It's pretty impressive ship. So right now we're standing outside turret number 2. I don't know if you guys can see, but behind me is the foredeck of the ship. Down there with the white cover. That white cover is just to keep the sun off folks when they're doing their learning experience about the battleship. But that's turret number 1. Right behind me is turret number 2. And right here on turret number 2 is where the explosion took place. Some of you guys may remember that. I was a kid when that happened, but I do recall it happening. It was a big deal at the time. 47 sailors lost their lives. There was an explosion in this turret. At the time, they said it might have been espionage. It might have been, you know, one guy was mad at the other guy and he kind of set up a booby trap and it went bad. Pretty much all of them have said that that's not really the case. What they think is after the investigation was done on this turret explosion, they could simulate in a laboratory environment the explosion that happened here, although it's never been an official answer other than what the government says, because we can totally believe that, right? They believe that it was either over ramming the turret, they rammed the turret too hard, or either by mechanical failure, or the guy that was running the turret was, I guess, the least experienced guy that day. Nobody really knows exactly, but they have a memorial set up for the 47 guys that lost their lives. The fire damage control crews were able to stop the other guns from exploding, essentially saving the ship. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today. So we're in the captain's wardroom here, and something that's pretty interesting about this battleship is 3 U.S. presidents came aboard this battleship. FDR, President Bush, and President Ronald Reagan were all aboard this particular battleship. Arguably one of the best presidents of modern times in the United States of America. That should start some kind of controversy with y'all. Be sure to comment down below. I'm sure everybody's got a comment, but President Ronald Reagan, they called him Ronnie the Ray Gun for a reason. Not many people mess with that guy. And so I'm a pretty big guy, 6'5", 265-ish. And I cannot imagine a whole bunch of guys working in there all rammed up tight on each other like that, because I'm not claustrophobic, but I would not want to be in there working. See how wide I am? Right. Ain't happening. I'm not afraid of tight spaces, but I'm not sleeping like that. 6 guys. So if your guy next to you snores, boy, is that not going to be fun for you. Tell here, but for a guy like me, you know, got to turn that way to my skinny side to get through some of these ways. But again, not a lot of room to spare, so you gotta take up the extra space where you can to make room for more. What I thought was pretty neat, I want to show this to all you guys out there. You know, so right outside the bunk, the rack area, is a welding machine. So all you need to do to make ship repairs during battle, I guess. Originally there would have been a dial here on top. This adjusts your amperage. Looks like you can do from 40 amps to 260 amps DC. And then you just plug your weld lead right in the side. So all you need to do shipboard repairs is bring your welding lead. See the gun barrel? This is a cross section of the gun barrel. See the rifling in it? Just to give you an idea of the size of the projectile, 16 inches. Put your hat, guys, stick your head in there. Your hat will fit in there. Your head will fit in there with your hat on, won't it?
Oh, yeah.
So just to give you an idea of how big the barrel is on this gun. Now those of you who are parents realize that occasionally, or sometime more than occasionally, you like to put your kid in the barrel and shoot them out to sea. They can be aggravating from time to time. So since we're below decks now, we're in the laundry. I'll give you a quick glimpse here. You know, so there's all these things that have to happen aboard a ship to just keep day-to-day operations, keep all the officers' clothing pressed and the sailors' clothing, but it's a pretty small area. You can see how they've got the press machines stacked in here. This just seems like this would just be a miserable place to work aboard a ship. Just an absolute hot box. So obviously this battleship has been in service from World War II up until the early 90s. It had to be re-armored several times with different weapon systems as technology advances. So what you're seeing back here are the carriers for Tomahawk cruise missiles. So obviously during World War II that didn't exist. We shot bullets at airplanes. Now we fire missiles, not Tomahawk missiles. These are cruise missiles. These go from the ship to land. So we can just push a button and tell it where to go. And if there's a bad guy bunker or a bad guy position that we want to take out, we just fire from here and it goes on its own. So as part of the tour, you pop out of the ship on the fantail up from one of the hatches. It's pretty neat. And so I'll give you a little shot here of the fantail of the ship. See behind me, the number 3 turret with the big 16s sticking up. At later times after World War II, the ship they took from having the float planes that they could launch off the ship to having a helipad on the back, because helicopters became popular after World War II. You can see now they have special events here. So sometimes you run across stuff that's just too cool not to share. And, well, this happens to be one of those situations. Behind me, you see the Space Shuttle Endeavour. We're at the California Science Museum. This is in the Space Shuttle Endeavour exhibit. And I actually, living in Florida, have got to see this shuttle take off multiple times in my life, but never been this close to it. It's truly impressive. So let's take a quick walk around so you can see what I'm trying to share with you. It's pretty cool. 3 of the shuttle's main engines. They're massive engines. The thrusters, the boosters, and way up there. So part of the display here is a little display on the main engines, and the machining and engineering behind this is truly just awe-inspiring. So another quick point of interest here is this external fuel tank. According to what they're telling us here at the museum, this is the last one that's known to be in existence. All the rest of them were used up on the shuttle missions. They got the only remaining one at the end of the shuttle mission, so it's here right now. Pretty awesome. So as you can see, pretty big tank. I bet it costs more than a few dollars to fill it up though. And so I wanted to share that with you guys, let you guys see a little bit of our history. Not everybody gets a chance to come to California and see this kind of thing. I appreciate you all watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, you can follow us on Instagram or the Do Right Fabrication Facebook page. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.